You know that feeling, right? You get this brilliant app idea, this flash. You just know this is it. It's exhilarating, that real spark of innovation. But here's the kicker, the digital landscape. It's kind of a graveyard for apps that started just like that with a great spark, but they skipped a really, really crucial step. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to talk about how to take that initial spark, that innovative idea, and turn it into what we're calling a market validated signal. We're drawing heavily from this fantastic recent article by Zerdeya, From Spark to Signal, how founders validate their app ideas for real market need. So, our mission here is to unpack exactly how you, as a founder, can figure out if your app idea actually meets a real need. And critically, doing this before you write any code or, sink serious cash into it. Okay, let's unpack this. Because knowing the difference between just a cool idea and a genuine market opportunity, that's everything. This deep dive is basically your shortcut to understanding why validation isn't just nice to have, it's essential, and how to actually do it right.
That's such a critical point. You see it all the time in startups, right? This immense pressure. Go fast, build, launch yesterday. But the article really pushes back on that. It makes this strong argument. Building the wrong thing, no matter how quickly you do it, well, that just leads to wasted time, wasted money, and maybe the worst part, missed opportunities. So validation isn't really about slowing down. It's more about being smart, strategic right up front. It's about making sure you're putting all that effort into something people actually genuinely want and importantly need. It saves you so much down the line.
Right. It's about building smart, not just fast.
It is.
Purposely. And that takes us to the absolute first steps, like before you even think about features or design, this foundational stuff. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, Zerdeya really nails this. They stress getting super clear on two main things right at the very beginning. First, who is your ideal user? And they're really clear. Don't just say everyone, that's useless. You've got to define a specific segment, not just like demographics. Think about their behaviors, their daily routines, what frustrates them, even what they hope for. Are we talking busy parents in the suburbs? Or maybe freelance designers struggling with, I don't know, client feedback. The more specific, the better you can target the problem. And second, what specific, really painful problem do they have? The article uses this great analogy. Your app needs to be a painkiller, not just a vitamin. Vitamins are nice, sure, but painkillers, you need those when you're hurting. The more intense the pain your users feel, the more likely they are to actively look for and pay for a solution. It's not just convenience, it's relief.
That painkiller versus vitamin idea, that really cuts through the noise, doesn't it? It's such a clear way to think about it. And there's another key point from the source here. The problem should be something people are already trying to solve right now, even if their current solutions are, clunky or inefficient. If they're actively trying workarounds, that's a huge signal, much stronger than just a casual, oh, that sounds neat. Okay, so you've narrowed it down. You have the sharp picture. Ideal user, pressing problem. How do you actually test that hypothesis without, building the whole thing and crossing your fingers? This is where those lean validation methods come in. Powerful, low-cost ways to get real feedback before you build.
Absolutely. And the article is at a great toolkit here. First method, customer interviews. And this isn't just casual chats, it means structured conversations. Talk to at least, say, 10 to 20 potential users, people who fit that ideal profile you defined. The goal, not to pitch your app, it's to understand their problem deeply. Ask open-ended questions. What are their struggles? What do they use now, if anything? How do they feel about it? Biggest mistake people make. Talking too much about their own idea. You need to listen, like really listen, way more than you talk. Then you've got surveys. These are great for getting quantitative data, numbers. Use simple online tools, reach a wider audience, and figure out how common the problem is. Gauge initial interest. They won't tell you the why like interviews do, but they're good for how many. Just keep them short, keep them focused. Otherwise, people just won't finish them. Okay, next up, a really popular one, landing pages, sometimes called smoke tests. Basically, you build a simple web page. Describe the app idea, the main benefit, what problem it solves, and critically, you have a call to action. Something like sign up for early access or get notified, and you collect emails. This is so powerful because it measures actual interest. Someone giving you their email, that's a much stronger signal than just saying, yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, that commitment, even small, means a lot more.
Exactly. Then there are mock-ups and prototypes. You can use design tools, Figma, Sketch, whatever, to create visuals, static mock-ups, or even clickable prototypes. No coding needed. This lets you show people the potential flow, the key features. You get feedback on usability, on whether the concept makes sense to them visually. Helps you iterate super early.
Before any actual engineering time is spent.
It's
Smart, very smart. And lastly, there's the concierge MVP. This one's brilliant, I think. It means you manually deliver the core value of your app to just a handful of early users. You are the app, essentially. So if your app connects people with tutors, maybe you manually find and connect the first few tutors and students. You do the work yourself to prove the core concept works and is valuable before you build the software to automate it. It completely bypasses the tech build initially, just to validate the core solution itself. Wow, the concierge MVP. That really strips it down to the bare essentials of proving value. Almost like a secret weapon. So, okay, you've done all this work, interviews, surveys, landing page signups, maybe even concierge tests. You've got stuff, data points, notes, emails. This raises an important question. Once you have all this data, what are you actually looking for? How do you know if it's a go signal?
Right. Interpreting that data is key. Turning that raw information into a clear signal. The article highlights 4 main things to look for. First, enthusiasm and pain. When you talk to people, do they get genuinely excited about your proposed solution? Or, maybe more importantly, do they express real, noticeable pain when talking about the problem? Are they talking about willingness to pay or willing to commit time to solve this? That emotional reaction is a huge clue.
That makes sense. You want more than just mild interest.
Definitely. Second, consistency. Are you hearing the same things over and over? The same problems, the same frustrations, the same needs coming up across different interviews, different survey responses. If lots of different people are describing the same core issue independently, that suggests it's a widespread, real problem, not just one person's annoyance.
Okay, so pattern recognition.
Exactly. Third, and maybe the most critical, behavioral evidence. Are people doing things? Are they actually signing up on your landing page? Are they asking follow-up questions? Are they willing to try a concierge test? Are they taking some kind of concrete action? This is way more reliable than just verbal agreement like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Actions speak louder than words here.
Actions demonstrate real intent.
Got it. And finally, number 4, market size. You need to ask, is this validated problem actually big enough? Is the group of people experiencing this pain large enough to support a viable business? You might find a very real, very painful problem, but if it only affects like 10 people in the world, that's probably not a scalable app business. So you need both the pain and a sufficient market.
Enthusiasm and pain, consistency, behavioral evidence, and market size. Those are the filters. So what does this all mean? It means these signals are how you take that initial exciting spark and confirm it's actually a solid signal from the market saying, yes, we need this.
Precisely. It's the difference between a guess and a data-backed opportunity.
Okay, so let's say you've gone through this, you've listened, you've tested, and the signals are strong. Green lights. Your idea is validated. What happens next? Where do you go from there?
Well, that's when things get really exciting, right? Because now you can start building with confidence. The article mentions the next logical step. Defining your minimum viable product, your MVP. That's the smallest, simplest version of your app that still delivers that core value you validated to those early users. Get something real out there, but keep it focused. And alongside that, you start thinking about your initial tech stack. How are you actually going to build this first version? But the key is, you're making these decisions now based on proven need, not guesswork. Which means you build smarter, more efficiently, and avoid a lot of wasted effort or costly changes later.
Building smart, not just fast. It comes back to that. So there we have it, a deep dive into why validating your app idea before you build is just, well, it's non-negotiable if you want to succeed. It's strategic, it saves precious resources, and it massively increases your chances of building something people will actually use and value.
Absolutely. And, thinking about this whole process, turning that spark into a real signal, it brings up a further thought for founders. If we connect this to the bigger picture, and your app aims to be that painkiller we talked about, this raises an important question. What responsibilities do founders have? How do they ensure their solution, while tackling an acute problem, doesn't maybe create new dependencies or have unforeseen side effect for users down the line? Even after validation, how do they stay tuned in?
That's a really interesting angle. Moving beyond just initial validation to the longer-term impact and responsibility. Definitely something to chew on. Perhaps a topic for another deep dive on ethical product design. Food for thought. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this helps you turn your next brilliant spark into a strong, validated signal for success.